Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. It's the start of another new set. Set 15 is on the PBE, the public beta environment. Hard to believe we've actually been through 15 Teamfight Tactics sets so far. This one is known as KO Coliseum, and so far it looks pretty promising. I will say I don't really care for the art style very much. All of the champions have just like completely bizarre skins, but the idea is it's supposed to look like some kind of like anime show, specifically like one of those fighting ones, like I don't know, like Dragon Ball or One Piece or something, I think is the idea. And so all of the champions have like thicker black borders around them than they normally do to make it look like they're a little bit cell shaded. But it's a lot of like the way that this set looks does not appeal to me. Like, look at all these champions; it's just like all kinds of crazy stuff. So anyway, the overall though this set does look pretty promising. I will say this is one of the more interesting and more promising sets that we've had. I think it looks much better than set 14, and it should be fun. I've been enjoying the games I've been having so far. I just don't like the way the set looks. By the way, apparently somebody's talking in French on here, which is kind of interesting. It's the only language other than English that I have some familiarity with. But yeah, other than that, I don't like the way the set looks, but fortunately I do like the way that the set plays, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're going to look at some early set 15 gameplay footage. Again, this is on the public and beta environment, so don't get too attached to any of the numbers you might see because they are going to be changing around. This was played, I think, on the third day of PBE. The first day of PBE was pretty much unplayable. It was so buggy that it was basically unplayable. But after they went through, they do daily patches on PBE. It definitely got a lot better. It's still not balanced, but it's a lot closer because some of the more egregious bugs were cleared up. All right, it is time for our first augment. Augments are, of course, back. They've been in all the sets. I was looking at these different options. Didn't really see anything that jumped out at me here. I was like, I don't see anything. I'll just take Gold Destiny, gain a random gold augment and 6 gold. And as soon as I get this, I'm like, oh god, I have no scout, no pivot. I was like, oh god, that's not what I want at all. No scout, no pivot is an augment that is, as soon as you put a unit on the board, you can't remove that unit from the board afterwards. But for every round that they are on the board, you gain stacking stats. I'm also going to show this. This is the power snacks, or power up. This is the unique mechanic of the set. You will get these power ups throughout the game, and they're basically the anomaly from set 13. You can use them, you can pick which unit to put them on, and you get a choice between 3 different extra abilities. These are mostly shared between champions. That is, you'll see a lot of them repeating. So for instance, I have this one, Double Strike, which is basically the Blade Master trait from some of the earlier TFT sets. It is every time this unit attacks, they have a 25% chance to get a second attack. And I have put that on Kale. So a lot of these are repeated from champ to champ, but there are some that are unique as well. For instance, one of the Kale ones that I had was actually unique to Kale herself. And it was Kale gains an additional ability at level 7 and another one at level 10. I did not go for that one because that would be utterly useless until the late game, and I wanted something that would actually maybe do something right now. I actually did not love this Blade Master option, but it was better than anything else that I thought that I could play. So, as I said, this is a really cool set mechanic. You might notice that there's something that looks kind of like an evil apple or like a grinning demon face over there. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be. That is the power snack remover. You get a set number of them as you play through the stages. I believe you get one every stage, just like you get an item remover every stage. So if I wanted to, if I didn't like the things that I had put on Kale, or if I wanted to switch my power snack to a different unit, I could use that remover to pop the power off of Kale and put it on a different unit, and then to get a chance to select 3 options again. So this is basically like having the anomaly from set 13, but like it's a better version of the anomaly because it's available from the start of the game. It's you get all you have the choice of which unit you want to put it on. You can move it around throughout the game. You can re-roll it. It's just a more flexible and better version of the anomaly mechanic. So this is a really cool mechanic. Now, the biggest downside is this is not a newcomer-friendly mechanic at all. This set is already a very complex set. As I said, you've got all these weird traits that do all kinds of crazy things. I think the trait design's good, but it's very complex. And then on top of all the other stuff that you're managing your champions, you're managing your economy, you're managing your items, you're managing your augments. Now you also have to manage the power-ups as well. Like, it just gives you yet another thing to manage as well. It's a cool mechanic. I like the mechanic. It's a fun mechanic. But it is yet another thing to manage. So, as I said, it is not newcomer-friendly at all. So this set has a pretty high barrier to entry, if that makes sense. Like, this is not the set that you grab your friends who have never played TFT before and try to get to the jump in. I mean, you can, but it's a rough it's a tough set until you know what the heck's going on. You're going to be lost when you first start playing these games because there's just so much to manage. Anyway, you might have noticed my team is getting absolutely run over here. That's no surprise. I had to kind of jump into this Kale team composition, which is a reroll team composition, and typically reroll team comps are pretty weak at the start of the game anyway. I ended up starting out the game with 1 Kale and 1 Zac. I did have a 2-star Aatrox, who's a frontliner for this setup, but I did start the game with 1-star Kale, or a 1-star 1-cost Kale and a 1-star 1-cost Zac, who are like the core of this team composition. When you play Kale, you're typically rerolling for Kale and Zac, and then you can reroll for Aatrox as well, because the Aatrox and the Zac both have heavyweight trait, which is this set's version of like bruiser or brawler trait. It gives them health, and it also gives them a little bit of additional attack damage based on how much health they have. So, yeah, my board is like super duper weak. It is very, very, very weak here at the start of the game. The one thing that works to my advantage is I do get first pick on the carousel because I've lost every round and I've actually gotten killed in these rounds. And so I do get first pick on the carousel, and that allows me to make a Rage Blade. Kale is basically not a unit without Rage Blade. Her ability is actually back from set 9, for those who might remember the set that was based in like the geographic regions of Runeterra, which is the fictitious universe that League of Legends takes place in. Kale, basically her ability is she gets stronger as your champion levels up. She's like incredibly weak at the start of the game. It's probably the single worst unit in the game at the start of the game. And then when you hit higher levels on your tactician, not your units, but like you, the little legend over there in the corner, she gets stronger. She gets stronger at level 6, and then she gets stronger again at level 9. So it's always like, and her ability is exactly the same. She's a reprint. So it's always been kind of an interesting thing with Kale when you played her back in set 9 is like you need to 3-star her because she's a 1-cost unit. She's not going to be useful if she's not 3-starred. But then you also have to get to level 9 as well, and like that's very, very tricky to do. You have to 3-star her and get to level 9. If you can do it though, she's very strong in the late game, but it's kind of tough to do. So her traits are Wraith and Duelist. Duelist is back from other sets. You get stacking attack speed. Every time you auto-attack, you get extra attack speed. Very, very good on Kale because she's entirely auto-attack focused. Without that attack speed, she is not a unit, so she really wants Rage Blade. She wants like Rage Blade, Gunblade, and then just more AP. But yeah, Duelist is good, and then her other trait is Wraith. And that is a new trait that has not existed before. Zac also has Wraith, and then the Jhin also has Wraith as well. I didn't really want to play Jhin, but I needed to play him on the board eventually, and I had hit him early on, and with no scout, no pivot, I can't put any temporary units on my board. Once they're on my board, they can never come off my board. So I have to be very, very careful about what units I put on the board in this with this augment choice. I do get additional health, additional AD, and additional AP every single round for every unit that's on the board. So Kale is, I think, she's getting like a small amount of health. I can't remember the health total, but she's getting 2 AD and 2 AP every single round. And now that I have up to 50 gold, I will roll here. I actually do have quite a bit of gold. I think I had a 2-item start? Yeah, I had a 2-item start. And then I also ended up taking that augment that gave me an additional 6 gold. And then my board was like incredibly cheap because my whole board cost was like 5 gold. I think I had 3 gold in the Aatrox, 1 gold in the Zac, 1 gold in the Kale at the start. So I was able to get up to 50 gold really, really fast here because my board was dirt cheap. It was dirt cheap because it was also terrible. But I did have a lot of money, so I was able to get to level. I was able to get up to level or 50 gold very, very quickly. And now I need to find Kales. I also really want to find Zax if I can, but Kale is the most important unit. Now Kale also actually does not have any mana. She's a monoless unit, so there's not much I can do with that tier that I got. And in fact, these items I got are kind of bad. I need more rods if I'm going to be playing the Kale. I also could try to get more Jins, but I don't have enough econ to go for Jin. Remember, I need to get Kale 3-star and then also get to level 9 in this game. So I have to be a little careful about where I spend my money here. And I'm trying to be careful about picking up units I might want to play on my board. So these items were not what I wanted. I was hoping for either frontline tank items or I was hoping for another rod so I can make a Gunblade on Kale. She really, really, really wants Gunblade so she can heal the front line off the damage she's doing. But instead I got a sword, a glove, and a tear. And like the tear is not useful in Kale because she doesn't use mana. You can do like Archangel Staff on her, but outside of that, really not very... Tears are really not a particularly useful item on her. And then the glove just doesn't really do anything. And then I guess I got a cloak, but like I can't do anything with those items. So those item pulls were pretty sad, and unfortunately this person's also playing Wraith, so I'm being a bit contested there. Well, we do have time for another augment here, and I look at the options and I was like, I need econ to roll for Kale. It's definitely raining gold. I could do quiet quitting, but I don't think that that works. Like, I want a timer here to hit my board, because I'm already losing a lot of health. I just have to invest a lot of gold. At least I am starting to hit some Kales here. I also put Udyr on the board. He ends up putting, he has 3 traits, and he ends up putting, I think, all of them in play. He gives me Duelist trait for Kale. By the way, I managed to 2-star the Udyr. So I think I'm going to try to put my tank items on the Udyr because I'm actually hitting that unit. I'm not hitting the Zac. Zac is supposed to be the main tank in this board, but I'm not hitting him. But yeah, I'm going to end up picking up Duelist trait with Kale. I pick up Juggernaut trait, which is another frontline tank trait that's on Aatrox. And then I also pick up this Mentor trait. Mentor is basically the ninja trait from some of the earlier sets. But more accurately, or I think the better comparison is probably the Emissary trait from set 13. Gives a team-wide benefit, but you can only have 1 Mentor in, or if you put 2 of them in, the bonuses turn off. If you put 3 of them in, the bonuses turn off. And then if you put 4 of them in, there's only 4 Mentor units. It like doubles the bonus. So that's basically how Emissary worked in set 13. The one on Udyr, I believe, is damage reduction for the whole team. Let me just look him up real quick. I have the cheat sheet here, and I need to find where he is located so I can see his mentor bonus is... Yes. No, never mind. The damage reduction is Kabuko. Udyr is attack damage and ability power. It gives 8% attack damage and ability power. Gives that to the whole team. So Kale is actually getting, and by the way, there I finally managed to hit the additional Kales. Now if I could just get some items for the Kale. At least I did convert that second augment, the 18 gold and another 1 gold per round, into more Kale. So I did hit Kale relatively quickly. As I said, I wish I could just get more items for her now. I did think about doing Adaptive Helm, but it was early enough in the game I was hoping I could get a better item, like a Gargoyle Stoneplate or a Dragon's Claw, or even if I could get enough rods, an Ionic Spark, because Kale does deal magic damage. Ionic Spark would not be bad, but if I can get a rod for Kale, I'm going to do a Gunblade over a Spark. But anyway, I did want to hold off slightly longer to see what item I could get off of this carousel. Okay, so as I was saying, Udyr gives the whole team attack damage and ability power. Right now it's set at 8% of each, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, it does give it to the entire team, which makes it more valuable. And by the way, now that Kale's 3-starred, she is starting to do a little bit more work here in these fights. In addition, remember, Kale's getting 2% AD and AD every single PvP combat round. So we've done 8 of them so far, so she's gotten 16% more AP and AD, although she's more gated by the magic damage than physical damage. But anyway, yes, she has managed to get that. And then she gets another 8% from Udyr, so I guess she has 24% of each. Like, that's kind of a lot. That's like another item's worth. And by the way, I'm second pick on this carousel because I've lost so many rounds. There's a spatula here. I'm like, okay, I will go ahead and try to do something with this spatula. I can go ahead and make a Wraith emblem with this if I can get a vest. And that'll allow me to play 6 Wraith without having to find Varus, who is a 5-cost unit. Now, that does mean I will probably end up with 7 Wraith in this game, because I can't take units off the board once I play them. but I don't think that it's bad to have that in any case. All right, so and it also gave me a unit to play. It also gave me a Malzahar, who's another Wraith unit, and now I can get the 4 Wraith in play. So what does Wraith actually do? My past self is kind of highlighting this, but I think I might stop highlighting it in a second. I'll just read the description. This is an entirely new trait for set 15. Every 5 seconds, the Shadow Realm strikes the 3 closest enemies, dealing total magic damage equal to a proportion of damage dealt by Wraiths since the last trigger. Your lowest health Wraith heals for 18% of the damage dealt by Wraiths and the Shadow Realm. Very, very interesting. So every 5 seconds, it hits enemies, deals a percentage of magic damage equal to all damage done by Wraith since the last trigger, and then heals your lowest health Wraith. Right now, I am at 4 Wraith, which is 35% damage. So the more damage that like Kale and the other Wraith units do, the more damage those Wraith procs are going to do when they go off. And it's really obvious when they go off because there's like this shadow that appears. And in addition, putting getting like an additional Wraith unit on the board means that I, as I said, have a chance to also heal them too, because it does heal the lowest health Wraith unit. So again, it would be nice if my main tank was not the Udyr, because he can't get healed by that, but Udyr is clearly the best choice based on what I have here. Now, you actually get a second power-up on 3-6, which is an odd time to get something. But yeah, we get a second one here, and I want to use it on a frontliner. Like, there's really no one who it makes any sense to use this on other than Udyr. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on him. And I just choose to give him more health, which I think will work reasonably well, just to make him tankier. Again, look how many items I have on my bench. The one downside to grabbing that spatula is it didn't do anything to make my board stronger immediately. Like, it just didn't do anything right away. I still can't really do anything with these items. Like, there's just nothing I want to make. I mean, I guess I could make items for a future Varus. Varus is the 5-cost Wraith, and he's a sniper, so he deals physical damage. So, yeah, I mean, he's a good unit to have on the board. He's a great unit, but he's a 5-cost unit. I don't really want to start making items for a 5-cost unit that's not going to be on my board for ages. And I don't want to, like, I would try to make, like, Infinity Edge for him, which is a good item on him, but then I can't make a Gunblade with the sword. So, like, I'm really kind of stuck here in terms of these items. So I'm just hoping that this minion round is going to allow me to make some items, because I do not like having 4 components sit on my bench. I especially would like to get a vest. Now, the thing is, I was hoping to make, like, a Gargoyle Stone Plate with the vest, but now if I get a vest, I have to use it to make the Wraith Emblem. That takes higher priority. So now I'm starting to think of other things I might be able to do with the cloak that's up there. And I still want to get more items on Kale, but I can't really make anything useful with what's listed here. All right, I get a belt to drop. That's not really what I was looking for here. Can I get, like, a rod? Or, okay, I did get the vest, so that's good. So I will be able to make that Wraith Emblem. And I want to continue leveling here, so let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and make that, and I have to buy, and I guess go ahead and buy a unit off the bench here. I also got double tiers, which is really bad for my setup. And I go ahead and put this on Aatrox. I actually should have put this on the Udyr, because I kind of forgot that you can heal the lowest health Wraith unit when the Wraith procs go off. So I was like, all right, yeah, let's just go ahead, and we'll just go ahead and kill this tier by making a, making an adaptive fountain. I was like, all right, I'll do the Spirit Massage as well. I can't have double tiers just sit on my bench doing nothing. It's too wasteful. I need to do something with this. These are not the items I would have chosen to make for Udyr, but that's what I had, and I need some frontline tank items. Kale actually scales over the course of the fights. Like, she's got a Rage Blade, so the longer the fight goes on, the more attack speed she gets. So it actually really, really behooves me to get some strong frontline in order to make this build works. And now I need to find either Cassante or Varus so I can play 6 Wraiths, which is going to make the Wraith procs even stronger. They're going to go from, what percentage is it? They go from 35% to 55% at Wraith 6. That like almost doubles the benefit. It's like 70% increase. I see the options here. One of them gives me a rod, and I'm like, yes, I need rods so badly. I'm willing to take an augment that just gives me a rod. And this is typically one of the weaker augments, is the one that just gives you the rod. But I think it's like all of your units gain 10% AP. But I need rods so desperately. I just have to take this. There's no guarantee I'm going to be able to get more rods. I'm also going to fish for a different Kale upgrades. I didn't really like that Blade Master one on Kale. So I'm going to use some of my removers to just try to get additional power-ups on Kale. I don't really like these either. I end up taking this one, gain attack speed and ability power. Gain 15% attack speed, 10% ability power. Again, stats that are not bad on Kale, and then it doubles after 15 attacks, and then doubles after, I think it's 60 attacks or something like that. I was looking at this and I was like, I mean, this is not terrible. I was like, how close am I to getting the 60 attacks off? It doesn't seem like something I'm ever going to hit in these fights. So I was watching this, and I think this fight lasted a pretty long time. Yeah, Kale, now that Kale's the Gunblade, she's way more effective. It does at least count up your attacks. I was like, all right, this fight lasted kind of a long time, and Kale still only got off how many attacks? She got off like 35 attacks. She never even got remotely close to the 66 attacks. I was like, I don't think this is really that great. I think I can maybe find something better. So I decided I would re-roll yet again. There actually is one of them that gives you... And by the way, there's another Udyr. I might as well grab these Udyrs and see if I can... Oh, wait, no, that's an Aatrox. Never mind. I miscounted that. I'm going to go ahead and count again. And then I see attacks grant stacking attack speed. That's good on Kale. This basically gives her double Rage Blades. Attacks grant 3% stacking attack speed. This is the way old Rage Blade worked. The item was changed during the last set so that it scales up based on time. You get attack speed like every second with Rage Blade. But now Kale has old Rage Blade, which is every time she attacks, she gets 3% additional attack speed. So she's actually stacking up attack speed 3 different ways. She gets the new Rage Blade effect, which is every few seconds she gets more attack speed. She has the old Rage Blade effect on her power-up, and then she also gets stacking attack speed from Duelist. So she has 3 different ways she's stacking attack speed. So she's going to scale super hard in these fights. And yeah, I just kind of need to keep her alive in these fights. And she's going to be able to kill just about everything. Can she kill the whole enemy team? Yes, apparently she can. And that was the player who was win streaking. So that's a pretty big win there. Again, I need to get to level 9 to upgrade her ability too. And I still would like to get another rod here. If I can get a rod, I can do Jeweled Gauntlet for Kale, which would not be bad at all. I've heard people say that Archangel Staff is pretty good on her too, but I already have a lot of scaling. I think I just want her to hit harder. So I'm 3rd pick now. I've actually won enough rounds to be 3rd pick. I was like, yes, give me this rod. Is it on a 1 gold champ? That's on a Nefiri. Nefiri's a 1 cost in this set. I was like, okay, it being on a 1 gold champ kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I also want to go to level 8 here, but remember, I can't take a unit off my board, so I have to make sure I have a lot of gold on my board when I roll. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And I do pick up another Mauls here. Or wait, no, I think I waited 1 more round because I was like, I want to make sure I have enough gold to roll with. I'm going to stop right here. Like, obviously, I would normally level here and play another unit. But with no scout, no pivot, I can't take units off the board, and I don't have another unit to put in. I need to find either Cassante, who is a 4-cost Wraith, who's a frontliner, or that 5-cost Varus. So again, normally I would always level here, but again, if I level here, whatever unit goes on the board is going to get trapped there. I mean, I guess I could technically put the Malzahar on the board, and if I hit 2-star Mauls, then they would combine together and it would free up a slot, but that still seems really dangerous. Better just to wait the 1 extra round. At least Kale is now finally fully itemized, and she's going to be doing an awful lot of work. Now that she's level, now that I am level 6, Kale fires off a wave of energy every 3 attacks. If I can get her to level 9, she'll fire that wave off every attack. And that's when she starts to get out of control. But I have to get to level 9 for that, so I am still power leveling as fast as I possibly can. And I have not really stopped to reroll at all here. But I'm going to need to go level... I need to get either a Cassante or a Varus here. I really am expecting Cassante. I was like, I just want one of them, and then I want to rush to level 9. I just need one of those 2 units, and okay, I hit the 2-star Mauls, but where are these units? And then, okay, I hit the Varus, who is not the unit I'm expecting. I'm expecting to hit the Cassante, because Varus is a 5-cost, and Cassante is a 4-cost, but it's like, okay, whatever. I mean, I guess we can deal with this. Now we can start building items for Varus. He is the top sniper in the patch. By the way, sniper... an interesting trait, a 2, 3, 4, 5 trait. Normally sniper is like sniper 2, 4, and 6. But no, it's a 2, 3, 4, 5 trait in this set. And I was able to find him. There is an internal sniper synergy in Wraith trait because Jhin and Varus are both Wraith plus sniper. Both of them have the same trait, so you do have that internal synergy. And I did manage to find this unit, so that's good. Now I have Wraith 6 in, and that does a lot more damage. Unfortunately, that poor player gets knocked out. And I'm actually the win-streaking player in the lobby right now. So I did win streak all of stage 4. Again, that's a reflection of having gotten the 3-star Kale. And now I need to get to level 9, and then I really need to get another unit on the board, which I will end up making Cassante. Cassante is the other Wraith unit I'm missing. He would put a Protector trait in play. I kind of need to play him. I have a Nico on the board who gives Protector trait. That's another frontline tanking trait in this set. What does Protector specifically do? I'm still learning these. Units gain durability while shielded. Once per combat at 50% health, Protectors shield themselves and their closest ally for a percent of their maximum health. So it's a shielding trait. It feels like it's maybe a little undertuned right now in the current build. But yeah, it's a shielding trait. Alrighty, so yeah, I'm just trying to level here. By the way, there's a Lee Sin, another very interesting 5 cost. Lee Sin can be played with any one of 3 different traits, which is really interesting. It's like the Aphelios from, what was the set where Aphelios had 3 different traits? Don't remember which one. I think that was set 8 where he had that. But yeah, he can be a duelist, he can build Aphelios had 3 different guns in set 8. Lee Sin can be a duelist, he can be a juggernaut, and I'm trying to remember what the third one he can be is. But yeah, he can take one of 3 different traits. So anyway, I judged that I needed more frontline more than anything else, so I went ahead and made the Wormogs. That has pretty good synergy with the Spirit Visage, because it is going to increase the percentage-based healing from the Spirit Visage. Again, these items are like not incredible, and this person with the 3-star Jace and the 3-star, what units? Oh, there's a 3-star Cogmaw back there, so I guess they found Lulu. This fight's reasonably close, but the Jace does pound through my board there. Again, I'll get much stronger if I can get to level 9. I just need to get there. But again, I need to have enough gold to roll on level 9, because I like once a unit goes on my board, it can't come off my board. So I need to make sure I can get to level 9 and have enough gold to roll, hopefully for a Cassante, because he's kind of the last unit I want. That will leave me with 7 Wraith, but it's okay. And I think I can get there. Like, I could go there right now if I needed to, but again, I need to make sure I have enough gold to roll with. And then hopefully if on level 9 I can find like more Varuses. Because I do need another carry on my board. You never really want just the one carry. You do typically want to have a secondary carry. And Varus will give me that. I just need to get him items. He needs AD items, basically. He's like an AD caster. So things like, I think Shojin's pretty good on him. People said Red Buff's pretty good. Like Deathblade. Anything that's good on AD casters. I'm sure Infinity Edge is perfectly fine on him. This is the board that has the most health in the lobby. This player has been winning for most of the game. Oh, I was highlighting Kale's stats here. I was watching how her attack speed scaled up. Look at that attack speed going up over the course of this fight. She starts like below 1 attack per second, and then it just goes up and up and up. But I don't think she can kill everything. She wasn't far off in that fight. If I had just had a little bit more frontline, I think she could have killed everything. It got pretty close there. But yeah, I dropped down to 28 gold here, or 28 health, and I was like, I think I go to level 9 now. Because I will have like 30-ish gold to roll with at this point, and I think that that's enough. I will get a lot stronger if I can put one more unit in, and then Kale will be will ascend. I guess I only had 19 gold, but the good news is I hit the Cassante immediately, thank goodness. And then we'll look here for other units. I might as well roll it down. Don't have that much more. I found another Varus. What is with me finding all these Varuses? I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's just amusing. I can't find Cassante, but I can seemingly find the Varus. So, and maybe if there's a Varus on this upcoming carousel, I can just have 2-star Varus just like that. So that, again, that gives me another unit to play through, and then the Varus is going to be pretty effective if I can get him some items. Varus, interesting unit. He doesn't have mana, or no, he does have mana, but his ability works in kind of a weird way. I'll read his ability here. Passive, gain mana when units die. Enemies grant 5, allies 3. Active, fire piercing arrows per second at random enemies until Varus is out of mana. Each arrow costs 12 mana and deals physical damage. So once he uses his ability, he fires until he runs out of mana, which is interesting. I've heard that Manamune is really good on him because he'll cast his ability and then Manamune like refills your mana bar after you cast. So like his mana will be continuing to fill up as he's firing the arrows, and he fires like twice as many as he normally does. So apparently Manamune's like really, really good on him. All right, there is no Varus on this carousel. That's a bit unfortunate. We are down to 6 players in the lobby. And out of the options here, I'm looking for a Varus item. I could do maybe Shield Breaker, but I don't have any extra crit chance on him. Or whatever that's called. It used to be called Shield Breaker or Guard Breaker. I go for the Shojin because that allows Varus to get his attacks off faster. Now, one of the big changes in this set, probably the 2 biggest changes, is they've designated every unit with a unit type. And the units generate mana a little bit differently depending on what their unit type is. So Varus is an AD, I believe he's an AD caster, which means that he gets more, he's attack caster. That means that he gets a bit more mana generation than he normally would, but his auto attacks generate a little bit less. No longer do units generate mana by getting hit. Only units that have the tank tag generate mana by being hit. That was always how TFT worked, is units gain mana from attacking, and then they also gain mana from getting hits. But now only tanks generate mana from getting hits. So that's a pretty big difference right there. Tanks generate less mana from attacking, and units are also more likely to attack tanks. All this was done to try to remove some of the randomness. By the way, look at Kale firing off those waves of energy. This is the board with the 3-star Cogmal that we saw earlier. So, yeah, Kale has ascended. Now she fires waves with every auto attack. So, and then, hey, look at this new animation. Now the top 4, you get a little animation. That's really cool. I like that addition to the gameplay. Nice to have that happen. And anyway, there's another Cassante. So if I can 2-star the Varus and the Cassante, I'll be feeling pretty good here. Still have a little ways to go. But anyway, so they gave all the units a specific unit type, and they function a little differently depending on that type. The other thing that they did is they reworked how mana items work. No longer do units get starting mana. Every unit starts fights with 0 mana. Instead, all the mana items give mana regen per second. Yeah, they all give mana regen per second. So like blue buff doesn't start you with 50 mana or whatever it did anymore. Blue buff gives you 5 mana regen per second. So this is a little bit different, but it causes it so that, like, tiers were always weird because all they really did was cause your first cast to go off faster. Like, what is the value of putting a tier on a unit? It just gives them 15 starting mana, or at least that's what it used to do. Now it gives them mana regen per second. So it like, removes that kind of weird function. And now units, instead of getting mana to start the fight, they just generate more mana per second by having tier-based items on them. The blue buff is 5 mana per second. The Shojin, I think, is it 1 mana per second or 2 mana per second? I know that, like, the Morellos and the Nashers give 2 mana regen per second. This is really noticeable when you play units that have a bunch of, like, a blue buff and stuff like that on them. So it's a little bit different. The biggest change in terms of how the fights play out is previously, like, if there was a unit that was, like, by itself in the back lines, if you, like, started attacking them, their mana bar would fill up really fast as you attack them. But now that doesn't happen, because units don't generate mana from getting attacked unless they're tanks. So, like, that's a little bit different. And, like, it could actually be bad in the past to, like, splash damage onto backline units, because it would just cause them to cast, get their abilities off faster. So, I think these mechanical changes make sense, and they're a little bit better. But it is a little bit of an adjustment. By the way, I definitely hit there. I hit the 2-star Cassante, and I hit the 2-star Varus. I'm going to put this red buff on Varus, which is a good item on him. Now watch this. I'm also going to shift Cassante into being my main tank. I'm going to pop the tank items off. I'm going to pop the power-up off. And that's all going on Cassante, who's going to be a better user of these items. And we're going to give him the power snack. I'm looking here. I was like, let's just take more health. Health and immunity to crowd control. Charge to new targets. Stunning enemies hit. That sounds great. And just more health for him. And also the ability to just run around and, like, disrupt people by charging around. That sounds great. Cassante also has an interesting ability. When his health hits 0, he actually regens back up to full. And then his health starts, like, decreasing after that. So he actually really, really, really benefits from having lots and lots of health on him. Let me read his formal trait description. As you see, now I'm starting to win all these fights because I've 2-starred my 5-cost and 4-cost units, and Kale is 3-starred. Alright, here it is. Passive for Cassante. On first death, instead heal to full, gain 100% attack speed, convert 50% of armor and magic resistance into attack damage, set max mana to 30, then dash to the target and briefly stun them. While all out, lose 6% health each second. Heal 300 health on kill. So yeah, I mean, he has, like, this health refill mechanic. So he really, really benefits from, if you can put, like, a Warmogs and a Spirit Visage on him. I've actually kind of lucked my way into 2 of his best items here. The Adaptive Helm, not quite so much. It's not terrible or anything, but it's not as good of an item. But yeah, he's an interesting unit in the sense that, like, when he dies, you kind of have to, like, kill him again. Although he does lose a lot of his tankiness after that. So I have really good items on him, and yeah, I'm kind of just cutting through this board. This is the only other player left in the lobby, but I feel like I've maybe accelerated past this board a little bit. I'm also so used to, and now I'm just going to go to level 10. I don't know if the game's going to last that long, but I'll just go to level 10 and play another unit. I don't really know what I would do on that. Probably just play like another random 5-cost unit. and just try to stuff them on the board. There's not really anything else this board needs. I've kind of maxed out this board. It's actually really weird. I never played through the Zac in this game. You're supposed to play through Zac for the front line, but I just had terrible luck at hitting Zacs in this game, so he's been irrelevant this whole game. But at least I did hit the Kales. Like, I didn't need to hit the Zacs, but I did need to hit the Kales, and thankfully I did. Also, this person's moving all their carries over to the right-hand side, so at the last second, this is an easy swap. We just need Kale to be as far away from those units as possible, and that's an easy swap to make. This person's playing, I think, a Duelist board. It's like a Duelist and Soul Fighter board. They get attack speed, and Soul Fighters gain stacking AD and AP. Just, it's like an offensively based trait. But the problem is Cassante is pretty tanky. It's like not easy to kill the Cassante at this point. And Kale is pretty untouched in these fights. The 7 or the 7 Wraith, a little bit more Wraith than I need, but it doesn't hurt because remember, the more Wraith units in the fight, the more damage they're doing. And the more those Wraith procs hit for. The 7 Wraith is also doing a lot of damage as well. And there's a great item I can put on the Varus here. I'm going to go ahead and take the Deathblade. And Varus actually has very, very good items, at least as far as I know. I'm not a great sense of like what items go on what units at this point, but I think these are pretty good items on him. The Shojin, so he'll cast faster. Shojin and Red Buff have good synergy, and then Deathblade, so he just hits even harder. So yeah, I'm in pretty good shape. I was trying. Oh, I was gonna look in the team planner. That's right. I was trying to make sure they didn't 3-star Samira, but you know, I've been so used to playing the set 10 revival where it's like really easy to get 3-star 4 cost. I'm like trying to look, and I was like, oh wait, actually this person doesn't have a lot of Samiras. They're actually not close to 3-star Samira at all. They did stick around in the game even though they had lost rounds because they wanted to get the 2-star Yone. Yone's a 5 cost. It's the 5 cost Soul Fighter. They did hit the 2-star Yone, so I was like, oh, okay. Does that actually swing these fights? I'm not sure if it does. So Yone actually hits the back lines there. But no, it actually doesn't look like it swings things at all. I actually still win really, really easily. And so I'm going to win and knock them down to 22 health. And at this point, the other player just says, GG. They're level 9. They have no gold. They can't get to level 10. They can't realistically make their board stronger. And those last couple fights were not particularly close. The 2-star Yone, if that had swung things, then like it might have made a difference. If I were them, I would have stuck around for maybe one more round, at least until right before the minion round. Because they actually were mispositioned. They should have been on the other side with their carries. But it makes sense why they would want to quit the lobby. They probably had just gotten outscaled. Remember, I had been stacking up no scout, no pivot the whole game. So yeah, Kale was like really freaking strong. Well, anyway, there you go, an early taste of set 15. This one's been fun so far. As I said, high learning curve, but it has been fun. So I hope you'll stick around. And until then, take care, folks. Hope you're having a good week. See you soon.